Top segment on the SportsMax Zone for this Tuesday, kicking things off with football. The English Premier League clubs in one voice confirmed Tuesday evening that due to the corona quarantine rules in the United Kingdom, they will have, quote, reluctantly but unanimously decided not to release players for international matches played in red list countries next month, end of quote. These matches are in the upcoming international window of the 30th of August to the 7th of September. Some of the countries on the UK's red list include Costa Rica, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Guyana, Haiti, Mexico, Panama, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, players travelling to red-listed countries would be forced to miss up to 4 games when they return from their qualifiers because of the 10-day isolation period required on return to the UK. Currently, approximately 22 players in the UK affiliated to CONCACAF teams are caught in this commotion straddling club and country during the upcoming international break. Jamaica's Reggae Boyz will travel to 2 countries on the UK's red list, Mexico on the 2nd of September and Costa Rica on the 8th of September. The Reggae Boyz stand to suffer and will not be able to call on as many as 10 players: Ethan Pinnock, Leon Bailey, Andre Gray, Casey Palmer, Michael Hector, Amari Bell, Bobby Reid, Liam Moore, Daniel Johnson and Dylan Barnes are set to be out based on this developing story. Now, joining us to discuss the latest is General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dalton Wint. So, Dalton, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. We've been looking on this story for the past few hours in our office. We consider it a pretty jolting story to the Jamaica Football Federation. Is that how you're digesting it? And what's the reaction coming from the JFF?
Good afternoon to you, Lance. Yes, it is something that is not very palatable at this time because we want the best available players to represent us during these 3 games. And so we are trying our best to see how this situation can be alleviated. Because the fact is that there is still an opportunity for discussion to take place and to see if there is a change of heart. Even a waiver can be granted by England or the UK-based countries to allow these players to participate in these games and quarantine, preferably at home, and go about doing their job playing football.
Yeah. Well, you're suggesting that there is still hope that the position can be adjusted, but next week, Thursday, is the Mexico match, so time certainly isn't against you. And based on what we're reading, based on the current FIFA guidelines, FIFA can't help, can they?
Well, FIFA had suggested that the plus do not have the right to refuse the players from participating for their countries. So, a draft letter was sent to the club, so hopefully understand that the situation is not country against club. It's justified as fit for both country and clubs.
Yeah, we just listed 10 Jamaica players that would be affected by that. Are there any other players that we wouldn't have listed that would have been in the Jamaica setup that we didn't mention just now?
What we have done is 80 players have signed a contract and made them settle. So the coach will decide from that game and the contract what are the persons that will represent these 3 games.
All right. We just spoke about Michael Antoine. Of course, he scored a double for West Ham yesterday. Antonio and an assist as well as a double. Is he on the cards for the Mexico match as far as the JFF is concerned?
He's qualified. He has received his document that he's qualified to play for us. I know the coach is interested. They are best placed to stop exactly if we do not get the services of this. But I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful because I know that FIFA will win the English FA and the meeting, possibly with the government, to see how best they can, iron out the situation.
Yeah, you know what? One of the issues that we're looking at here, as we said, time is against you, and you are hoping for some intervention. Certainly, based on the press release we saw today, that the English Premier League clubs in one voice suggested that they're pretty resistant and positive in their position. Would it be possible, let's say, for CONCACAF to change the venue then for the Mexico match to somewhere neutral, somewhere where that is not on the UK red list at the moment, to allow the players to play there? Is that an option?
I am not sure if that is really an option, because the home game is Mexico home game. To take the advantage from Mexico, it might not be something that is looked at favorable at this time. It is quite possible that Jamaica might end up in that situation where I think it's amber at this time, which can be red. So, we don't want to go the road, but we want to go the road of seeing if we can get an exemption for these players, not to quarantine in the facility, but to be able to stay at home, practice, and participate in the game. That was something that existed before in England, so I'm hoping that will continue, or that will be reinstituted.
Dalton, do you get the sense that, these Premier League clubs, they're just basically sending a statement to the government, of course, just to let them know that you need to make these adjustments, and not so much so that they have an issue with the players representing their countries internationally, but it's just that they feel as if, it's too early in the season, and they understand how competitive Premier League will be this season, and they just don't want to take any chances.
And I understand the situation of the clubs because they invest a lot. But we have World Cup qualifying, and what we don't, and I don't think FIFA would support this, is to compromise on the integrity of the competition. What they want is the best player playing, our players playing. And so, if something can be worked out, I know it will be done. I am positive that discussion is taking place with FIFA and the
Yeah, have you been in, contact with any of the players that will be affected if this goes ahead? And if so, what's the word?
Well, you have done a situation as a player at this time. The fact is, if you want to play these games, you will be away for approximately 10 days. To get back in England and to be quarantined another days, and then after that you have to regain your fitness. It might take you at least a month to start back playing for your club, which you might lose your position in the club. So I understand your position, but I'm hopeful. The only solution to this problem at this time that I see is for a waiver to be granted.
Yeah.
All right, Dalton, thanks for talking to us. Dalton Wint there, Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation. And we'll be in touch in the coming days because we consider this a fluid story. And we hope, expect that within the next couple of days, something favourable may happen with regard to these players leaving and representing their countries. Thanks, Dalton.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, huge story here, Mariah. And, it is very clear to me that Jamaica wouldn't be a lone voice in the wilderness here battling for this waiver, because a lot of the CONCACAF teams would also suffer from this issue. The international stories today would have focused on like the Brazilians who play for Liverpool and Mohamed Salah for Egypt and so on. But right here in CONCACAF, you'd have to consider like the USA, they would be without players like Pulisic, and they would have key players as well. So I'm pretty certain that the JFF on its own will be trying to fight their battle. But from a CONCACAF standpoint, I do get the impression that several of the other countries who have players playing in England, key players we might add, would want to ensure that they have their players as well.
Definitely, and I feel as if because it's a collective voice, just like how the Premier League they have a collective voice and they came out and they made it known, I think, the CONCACAF teams will bond, and I'm hoping they do it very soon, because you rightfully said time is against some of these teams, and, they need to get these things sorted really quickly. It'd be sad not to see these international players suit up, and I think those involved will understand the importance of having these players, and I think, Lance, it's just a matter of time before before, you know, this is rectified. It's sad to be a player in this situation, though, because you'll have to literally choose between your money and representing your country, and that's not a good place to be.
Yeah, as we head towards the top of the hour, still more discussion on this football issue to come on the SportsMax Zone. We're going to break now, and when we come back, we continue to talk about these international players who may be denied an opportunity to World Cup football because of the ruling by the English Premier League today that they, because of the quarantine rules, are not prepared to allow their players to leave. Back with more in a moment.